Our last speaker is Alon. He is not from our faculty. Where do I have it? Gal is not from our faculty, but he is from our university at a very important center, the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. I need to get names right today. And the reason I asked Gal to close this meeting, this gathering, is because of what was mentioned earlier, actually, that there's been a lot of work also at the university, or did I mention it? I don't remember. Trying to think how to incorporate AI, of course, into teaching. It's not that we're talking about teaching today, but they've prepared a lot of resources on their website, a lot of points where you can enter your first steps into AI after hearing the things that people have already been doing. If you're a beginner, that's a good place to start, and Gal will give us some introduction to that. And also say a few words about teaching as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. It's very difficult to talk about all these things in 10 minutes, so I'll do my best. So I've been working at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning for the past 6 years. In the last 2 years, our dean, Professor Liat Kishon-Rabin, came up to me and she told me, listen, the whole campus is trying to figure out what to do with generative AI these days. You're the only person here that's been playing around with it for the last couple months, so this is your job. Go for it. So I'm not a AI specialist. I'm just enthusiastic about it, and I'm trying to keep up with all the trends and all the things that are going on, so we can try and TLDR all these things for you and to help you get up to speed as quick as possible. So I'm going to try and cover many things that have already been discussed here today. So it's going to be fairly easy, I think, for me to run through it. So usually when I meet with professors and try to, consult them how we can start to incorporate generative AI tools into their classes, I try to get a read on how they feel about it, right? So I ask them, like, how do you feel about generative AI in general when we talk about generative AI in higher education? And specifically, or particularly, how do you feel about it in your domain, in your field? Usually, the feelings span between anxiety, where they say, like, wait, students are cheating, they're cheating their way through the courses, they're relying too much on bad tools that are not that good in our field yet. They're over-relying on it, and that's a voice that we hear quite often. And also there's a voice that says, well, listen, there's just too many tools, too many things to cover, like I don't know where to begin, I don't know where to start, so it's just too much. But on the other end of that spectrum, we also see a lot of excitement, that there's a lot of benefits in it, it can save us a ton of time, and a realization that we're just at the start of this new revolution that's going on. So I try to get a read on that, and then we try to cover these tools. These have been the tools that have been pretty popular in the higher education space over the past year or two. Some of them are good for, like, writing assistance, brainstorming. Some of them are more dedicated to generating, like, presentations or images. Some of them are more fit for literature review. Some can also help us to read an article more thoroughly, or help us comprehend the key points in a paper that we're trying to wrap our heads around. So these are some of the tools that are worth checking out yourselves. And we hope that we're also going to be able to deliver like guides on each and every one of these tools and how to incorporate them in teaching and in learning. So yeah, these are why do we do all this? Because we want to show professors and students, where's the value in this, and it's not just a gimmick. We don't want to show you these tools because they're a gimmick and they're cool. But to show where is the value when we talk about how we can teach with it, so it can help us. And these are just some of the examples, right? So it can help us when we plan lessons, or we want to run a classroom activity, or we want to build a new presentation, or write new assignments. Also, everything that has to do with assessment, right? So we can help to write new assessments, and we can also use it to even evaluate what we receive from the students and automate our tasks. When it comes to learning, we can engage our students in active learning, just even, presenting a task or an activity to do within ChatGPT or within Claude that we have that we planned some kind of learning path that they want the students to go through, then we can do that also in these chatbots in these environments. So these are just a few of the values that we've identified over the past couple of years. One initiative that we ran last year in the last semester was a professional learning community. Because we understood, listen, we can't just do this ourselves. Not just me and another person or two at my Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. We can't cover all this all by ourselves. So we invited professors from around the campus to join us on this adventure, on this journey. We invited 40 professors that joined us, and our goal was to develop practical principles and recommendations for adapting teaching, learning, and assessment to the introduction of generative AI technology in academia, and to distribute this to all right? So not just to keep it inside the community, but to distribute it to the entire campus so everyone can enjoy our findings. How did we do it? We invited, again, over 40 professors. They joined 4 separate working groups. Each group focused on a different challenge. So one focused on the domain of academic reading and writing. Another group focused on writing and evaluating assignments in quantitative fields, which I brought just a few examples from that team. Another group worked on generative AI as an assistant in teaching and an assistant in evaluation and assignments. And the 4th group tried to define what is this generative AI literacy when it comes to higher education. If you want to see all the, a detailed report of all our findings, it's on our website. I'll be sure to share with Alon all the links of the things that I'm going to show you here today. So you can just go there and dive a bit more deeper than what I'll be able to talk in the next 5 minutes. So the last group that I mentioned that covered the generative AI literacy, led by Professor Alon Hershkovitz, these are all the group members. They read the literature, they scanned the landscape, and they discussed, and they found this model. They came up with this model that resonates with Bloom's taxonomy, if you're familiar with it. When we focus on what is the task that we give our students, what does it demand them when they're thinking about it? Like, what is their thought? What are their thought processes? And so we want to focus on the tasks at hand. So let's just give a few examples, when we go through all of this. So when we talk about knowledge or knowing, we want them to recognize, okay, I have a task. What kind of tool can help me complete this task, right? Someone here asked about how I generated these images, right? So to generate an image for a presentation is a different task that I'm trying to deal with rather than if I want to solve a math equation or a math problem. So it is to identify what tool I should use to complete a task. The next level is to understand, right? How can I get the most out of an AI tool? So if I'm trying to solve, let's say, like a coding problem, to give it the context of the code or to share some of the errors that I get when I run the code, that is crucial information that can help us really focus how the AI can work and help us better achieve our goals quickly. When we move on to applying, and this is very important, to make ethical use of the AI tools in relation to a given task. So it's not just to write good prompts, like some of the examples that we saw here today, but it's also doing it in an ethical way, right? Consider, is it okay for me to share this data with the tool? Are these questions that we're asking ourselves? Is the data that I'm taking, is it copyrighted in any way? These questions are not things that we necessarily think about, though we pause a moment to think about when we interact with these tools, because they give us this very intimate feeling, right? Yeah, of course, I'll do anything you want. Whatever you need, I'm here to help. But this muscle of taking into consideration the ethical considerations is very important. Next, we move on to analyzing. So here we want them to compare solutions. For example, if I work with ChatGPT or Claude, just like Amit showed us here, I think, earlier, right? To compare their performance of different tools. So that's something we want to achieve. Next, we move on to evaluating, right? We want to evaluate the correctness of what we receive when we compare it or we verify it with our textbooks or the learning materials from our course. So that's also something that we can strive to achieve with our students. And the last level of this pyramid is to create, where we can try to bring our students to create some kind of like pipeline or a system that can tackle complex tasks using different tools. So this is just one representation of this model, but you're welcome to like break it down, look at it different ways. But we hope that this kind of model can help professors try, first of all, consider what do we want our students to learn, like where are we taking them on this journey? And also it can translate to, okay, what do I need to know how to do now so I can mediate this for my students? Because this group also surveyed over 1,600 students, and they found that the students see great importance in acquiring AI skills, but not just that, they expect the institutions to mediate that to them. Okay, they're not expecting them to go and learn it on their own with YouTube videos and hear from friends. They're looking up to you to show them, how do I drive these tools in the right direction when it comes to the domain-specific tasks that I'm expected to do as a student, and later on when I join the workforce or continue to research in the academy, in academia. So this is one model that they developed in the groups. Also, when we talk about generative AI as a teaching assistant, so Dr. Luda Marcus, she showed us how we can use, ChatGPT to write LaTeX. We've seen this earlier. This is something we also discovered last semester. Dr. Yuval Beck, he showed his students, listen, this is how you can plot. Thank you for Raz and Roy and everyone for showing this earlier. And surprisingly, this was something that most of the students, not most, but a lot of the students in class didn't even know was possible. Okay, so for us, maybe you've just tried it out. Yeah, you saw it can plot it, but doesn't mean that 100% of the students in class know how to do this. So he showed them how to do this. He showed them how they can manipulate the graph through prompts, how they can copy the code to a separate environment, if it's Google Colab or their local machine, and how to use this as a practice environment where they can critically evaluate what they get back from ChatGPT. And following up on that, Dr. Luda Marcus and Dr. Ami Rubinstein, they found that giving students math problems and asking them to solve it with generative AI, such as ChatGPT, through this practice and exercise, they see that they encourage informed and critical use of these tools, because they see very quickly that they can't rely upon them to show the actual truth, to represent the absolute truth. It leads us to think about, okay, assessment. What do we need to change, if at all, right? So the first step in doing that is I encourage you as teachers to take last semester's assignments, put them into the tools, and see what they know about them. What are their performances? We see that this isn't trivial for a lot of professors to try themselves, so we encourage you to do that. And once you do that, and you have in mind the model that we showed earlier and the goals of your course, maybe ask yourself, okay, what is the approach in my course? So we map 3 approaches to assessment in the course. One is to evaluate only the final product, saying, I don't care what the students do. I don't care if they use AI, they don't use AI, do whatever they want. I'm only interested in the final product. That's okay, you can do that, but it's worth trying to give some thought. Is my assignment, is it difficult enough for AI to solve on its own? Maybe try to take it up a notch, make it a bit more complex. The second approach is to do assessments in environments without access to generative AI, which I know is very popular, right, in the faculty. We do, like a lot of the grades, rely purely on the final exams that we do in class, but maybe try to think of other environments or how you can, maybe distribute it differently. Oral exams, for example, or projects that in environments where they don't have access to these tools. And finally, opening the gates, allowing them to use them, and evaluating the process, right? Asking the students to submit the way that they use the tools. What did they do, so we can look at the way that they prompt, the way that they ask questions, the way that they navigate how these tools work. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, there are no shortcuts, right? So I'm sorry to say that you need to invest the time. Right? You need to invest the time to sit down and play with the tools and tinker with them a little bit. We don't have any secret sauce or secret tip on how to get this all cover all of this together. And another thing I'm sorry about is that from what we see, you won't be able to do it only one time, right? At least once a year, we're going to have to raise our heads, look around, see what's new with the tools, and figure out how it affects our teaching and the students' learning in class. We do try to help by producing videos. Some of them are short, some of them are a bit longer. We interview experts from the field. We try to cover tools like hands-on to show you how you can get up to speeds with using these tools. We just started releasing these videos, so it's a channel that's going to get updated every few weeks with new videos. So we're working on that. And other than all the things that I talked about, we have a website, as Alon mentioned. You can find information there. We're going to do a big revamp design-wise and content-wise to our website pretty soon. So you can find information there. We do workshops across campus. We invite people to talk with us on like one-on-one sessions, to consult with us, see how we can help. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, please.
So first of all, the professors that join the working groups, we paid for it. The Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning gave the budget to that every member would have for the time of that last semester. We gave out licenses. Obviously, we don't have like we don't have that much budget to cover the entire campus. But what we're recommending now is that you do try to approach your school faculty and try to get the budget from there. And if not, on every occasion that you can, tell us, give us these inputs, because we're also trying to highlight this to the higher ranks of the rector and the president and the CEO and everyone, to show them, look, this is the demand, and this is where the value is, and this is what we get if we'll pay for it. So we need your help to get this data. Okay? I'm in contact with the Agaf HaMichshuv, IT department, for the last over 2 years. I've been giving them a headache because I'm always showing them how professors and students are using these tools. There's also the barrier of many of these tools aren't even allowed, right? You're not allowed to use them when we're talking about like the university policy, right? But they're starting to get there. They understand that we're using it, that Copilot isn't enough. Microsoft Copilot is the go-to tool that you should be using to upload your data and research and all that. That's what you should be using. But whoever tried that sees that it's not on par with where ChatGPT and Claude are. So we're showing them that from what we see in the field. So thank you very much.
Okay.